So I've explained to you in the past how I make my protein shakes. What I'm going to do today is run you through how I make my particular pre-workout and dinner time magnesium mixtures before I go to bed. So like most things that I make in a shaker, I usually put a base of fluid at the bottom, whatever it is that I'm going to mix, and then more fluid at the top. That way the fluid goes from top to bottom and makes it a lot easier to evenly distribute whatever's in the solution. That's just a pro tip. You don't have to do it that way, but that prevents you from getting clumps of whatever it is that you're mixing on the bottom of your shaker. Starting with the magnesium, I am currently, for my magnesium drink, using this Mega Food Relax and Calm Magnesium. It's a mix of magnesium citrate, malate, and glycinate. Each scoop is 10 calories, 3 grams of carbs. It's with dinner, so I don't really care about that, but it's 300 mgs of magnesium. So what I like to do is I like to take 3 scoops worth, 3 like heaping scoops. So it ends up being about another gram of magnesium on top of what I take in capsule form. All right, next for pre-workout, lately I've been partial to Retcon 1's Total War. Only got 250 mgs of caffeine, not that much. I'm pretty resistant to stimulants, but generally speaking in the morning, because my sleep hygiene's pretty good, I don't need a lot to get me going. And I've talked in the past on how I don't slam pre-workout. I actually just sip on it throughout the workout. And then as the pre-workout goes down, I add more water to top it off. So it gets less and less pre-workout per volume as the training session goes on, until eventually I just have a shaker full of water, and it's kind of like my hourglass timer to know, like, okay, you're done. I'm gonna go ahead and just put 1 heaping scoop in each shaker, like so. Next comes arguably the more important reason why I do all this in drink form and not just take capsules for everything like I did when I was in the field. It's because I want to add the creatine to it. Now, I've spoken on numerous occasions on the benefits of creatine. Me, I'm actually a non-responder with creatine in the muscle, at least in the typical doses, in the 5 gram a day dosage. But what creatine has been exceedingly beneficial for me with is brain health, particularly the alleviation of TBI symptoms, traumatic brain injury, that I suffered from getting blown up in Afghanistan. To that effect, instead of taking just 5 grams a day, I take anywhere from 20 to 30 grams twice a day. So for that reason, I have micronized creatine monohydrate, which is the gold standard, okay? Typically comes in 5 gram servings a scoop, and usually, depending on the brand, if you get a big bottle like this, that's 200 servings, it's like 50 bucks. So it's not that expensive for, as far as supplements go, for efficacy. Creatine is probably the most widely studied, proven, efficacious thing that you can get. So it's definitely worth the money. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put 4 heaping 5+ gram doses of this in each of these shakers, so that I'm gonna have 20 plus in each of my magnesiums and then 20 plus in each of my creatines. So since I'm gonna have a pre-workout in my, did I say creatine? I meant 20 plus in each of my pre-workouts. So since I have my pre-workout in the morning and then my magnesium at night, that puts me at anywhere from 50 to 60 grams of creatine a day, which is plenty to both saturate my brain and muscle tissue and derive the full gamut of benefits. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And just for reference, this is what a 5-gram scoop looks like. So you'll get one of these usually in each of your creatines, regardless of brand. So this is BioPower by Global Formulas. And essentially what it is it is magnesium creatine chelates. My training is measurably improved when using this as opposed to just creatine monohydrate. Creatine monohydrate, however, has been more robustly beneficial to my brain, which is why, and also it's just more extensively studied. We know it works. This is kind of a personal experiment of mine that seems to be working, and I have all the metrics to demonstrate that. But again, I can't say whether or not this would be the product for you, but I like to use it. And then also another benefit, so I put 2 heaping scoops of that in here. Another benefit to this particular brand of creatine, and I mean brand specifically, not type of creatine, is it adds a little bit of flavor to both my magnesium and my pre-workout. It adds kind of like a tangy fruit punch flavor to it. And I don't really drink anything other than water and my protein shake after training. And so my pre-workout in the morning and my magnesium at night are the 2 things that I have during the day to drink that have any kind of flavor in them. So 3 things total, I suppose. My pre-workout first, then my shake after that, and then later at night during dinner time, I have my magnesium. And there's not that there's anything wrong with flavor. I just drink a lot of water. And so all that's left to do is close these, shake them up, then top them off. And that, folks, is how I prepare my morning pre-workout and my evening magnesium drinks. I just want to end with, folks, that these are some of the things that I do that I've found to be efficacious and at a reasonable price point, but these are not recommendations per se. I do recommend that you, however, do play around with your supplement intake. Don't just take mine or anybody else's word for it. Find a good price point and a reasonable supplement protocol that is sustainable, because most of these supplements only have a very marginal effect, and that effect is even only that when you continually administer the supplement for a meaningful period of time. Something like beta-alanine or even creatine, as efficacious as creatine is, doesn't have an acute effect per se. You need to saturate your tissues in it for it to do its stuff. Other than caffeine, you're probably not going to get much, and the magnesium. The magnesium will have an acute effect on your sleep quality, but besides the caffeine and the magnesium, the creatine specifically, and most other supplements have very little effect unless you take them consistently over time. So when I say experiment, play with, see what protocols work for you, give it a period of time to figure it out. Anyways, that's all I got. Thanks for watching, folks.